Watch out, your child's Halloween celebration could be canceled. Jen Psaki and others in the Biden administration continue to show just how out of touch they are with the American people. Plus, a safe space at a liberal college is fearful of straight men. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
Okay, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Halloween because the woke radical left continues its quest to destroy everything traditional and fun and community building in America. Anything that brings people together, the left will try to tear it down. Now, it's Halloween, and of course their claim is that Halloween celebrations need to be canceled because they're racist. Here's the story. A handful of elementary schools across the country are canceling Halloween celebrations because some activists and administrators say the spooky holiday is unfair to poor children, minority families, and marginalized cultures. The holiday's monsters and masks leave some youngsters frightened, a group of Michigan principals said while pulling the plug. Critics say the attack on Halloween, though, is just the latest front in an ongoing culture war. There's a war on families, American values, and everything that gives people joy, said Kimberly Fletcher, the founder of the educational nonprofit Moms for America. So, some administrators are canceling Halloween celebrations because it's unfair to marginalized cultures. Which ones? Someone please tell me. Are zombies offended? Did they get woke and think it's some kind of cultural appropriation to dress like a zombie? Enough is enough. Those on the left talk about inclusion and tolerance, but they are the most intolerant people out there. Most people want to have their kids celebrate Halloween. Most don't want it to be canceled. The left doesn't care. Their view of inclusion is that everyone should be miserable together. Here's more. In Michigan, the Lansing State Journal reported that the elementary school principals in East Lansing's public school district sent a similar letter to parents on October 13th, canceling Halloween parties because they exclude young children who become overwhelmed and sometimes frightened of the costumes, and others who come to school with no costume at all. The East Lansing principals also canceled Valentine's Day, saying it excluded some families that do not feel comfortable with the idea of boys and girls exchanging Valentines or participating in a celebration that focuses on love. That's what's going on in East Lansing. In Seattle, Benjamin Franklin Day Elementary School canceled its pumpkin parade because, as a school spokesperson said, black children didn't celebrate it and that families of color were left out. Blacks don't celebrate Halloween? Since when? The left tries to make everything about race and people are sick and tired of it. Here's Seattle radio talk show host Jason Rantz speaking to Fox News.
They decided that they would cancel Halloween festivities because of concerns over equity and inclusivity. And specifically, they make the claim that their black male students do not celebrate Halloween, that black teens in general don't, and so they want to get rid of it. It seems like a silly excuse. I've never heard of that. I had to have some of the sort of awkward conversations with black friends of mine saying, wait, is this a thing and I just missed it? Saying, no, it seems to be that it's just performative virtue signaling. It's an equity team that made this decision.
Yes, this is really happening in the United States of America. Traditions, customs, celebrations, all are targets, and the left won't stop until people speak up. All right. Next, let's talk about Jen Psaki and the administration's response to the supply chain collapse. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Okay, let's talk about Jen Psaki because on Tuesday, she continued a very disturbing trend that you've seen from her and from other administration officials who seem completely disconnected from the problems of everyday Americans. Their arrogant elitist responses show that the Democrats have clearly morphed into the party of the rich, woke, and out of touch. Recall last week when White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain was blasted for retweeting comments that said inflation and supply chain issues were high-class problems. On Tuesday, Psaki was asked about Americans not being able to get goods and supplies, and she belittled the question.
It was clear in March of 2020, when COVID hit, that the supply chains across the world had been disrupted. Even as the sort of work to fight back against COVID proceeded, it was crystal clear that things were not improving on supply chain. People couldn't get dishwashers and furniture and treadmills delivered on time, not to mention all sorts of other things. So why is
the tragedy of the treadmill that's delayed?
Right,
The tragedy of the treadmill that's delayed. And then the smirk. This is exactly why the Democrats are in trouble and Joe Biden's poll numbers are sinking like a rock. They can't do the job, and they have no grasp of the problems Americans are facing. Prices on food are skyrocketing. Prices for fuel are going through the roof. People can't get goods and services because there aren't enough workers, and the Biden policies are causing and continuing the hardships. In the meantime, Psaki talks about the tragedy of the treadmill. Give me a break. But again, Psaki isn't the only one. Ron Klain showed that he was just as out of touch as Psaki, and then there are comments from one of Biden's special assistants, and here's the story. Liz Reynolds, the special assistant to the president for manufacturing and economic development, seemingly brushed off concerns about the inability to get goods during a conference call Monday with representatives of the nation's governors. You won't be able to get the jacket in 15 colors, but you will be able to get the jacket, she said, a source on the National Governors Association call told the Post. Unreal. And how about Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who has been away for months on paternity leave? He was on CNN this weekend and actually said that America is having these problems because Joe Biden has successfully guided this economy out of the terrifying recession. What can you even say? Out of touch, and hopefully soon out of office. All right, so next here's an update on what's going on at America's colleges and universities, and it shows that because of left-wing indoctrination, we are losing a whole generation of Americans to the woke radical left. Consider what is going on at Oberlin College in Ohio. There's a special dorm set aside just for women and transgenders. So much for inclusivity. Well, what the dorm needs now are radiators. They need new ones. They had old ones. And the snowflake leftists who live in the dorm are freaking out because the installation will likely be performed by good old American dudes. Here's the story. A student at Oberlin College in Ohio described being scared and angry after the school announced a work crew would be installing radiators in a safe space dormitory for women and trans students, explaining the crew would likely be cisgender men. I was angry, scared, and confused. Why didn't the college complete the installation over the summer when the building was empty? Why couldn't they tell us precisely when the workers would be there? Why were they only notifying us the day before the installation was due to begin? Oberlin student Peter Frey Witzer wrote in an op-ed published in the college newspaper on Friday. The student went on to say that he's very averse to people entering his personal space and that his anxiety was compounded by the fact that the crew would be strangers and more than likely cisgender men. Fox News' Greg Gutfeld talked about this story on his show and pointed out that these scary cisgender men are what we all call dudes.
The guys who fix things, well, they're a danger. The world is full of these guys who make things work, but make you nervous, and they don't even know it. They're too busy improving your life to notice you cowering under the bed, wondering why their work boots aren't made of vegan leather. It's not fear of toxic masculinity, it's fear of competency. Dudes show up, work hard, and solve problems. It's the opposite of spoiled college kids, so soft and pampered, who have to create problems to give their lives meaning.
That's great insight into the mind of the angry left. In other college news, a leading physicist is resigning in protest from Cal Berkeley because another physicist was denied a speaking role at a scientific conference. What did this physicist do to draw the wrath of Berkeley and be denied an invitation to speak? Were his calculations wrong? Are his theories incorrect? Nope. He simply spoke out that it was wrong to riot and loot and hurt people. Here's the story. Dorian Abbott is an associate professor at the University of Chicago's Department of Geophysical Sciences and had denounced rioting in Chicago following the death of Floyd last year. Abbott was slated to deliver the 10th annual John Carlson Lecture at MIT this month regarding new results in climate science. The school disinvited Abbott after outrage over a series of YouTube videos where he argued for the importance of treating each person as an individual worthy of dignity and respect, following 2020's summer of riots and protests, according to an opinion piece Abbott wrote earlier this month. I guess you can't say that each person is worthy of being treated with dignity and respect. That is a controversial statement, according to Cal Berkeley, and enough to get Professor Abbott blocked from speaking. Because of those actions, physicist David Romps has now resigned in protest from Berkeley's Atmospheric Sciences Center, and I hope more professors follow his lead. All right, next, Joe Biden is trying to salvage his falling poll numbers and domestic agenda by negotiating for a smaller price tag on his still incredibly massive infrastructure bill. His Build Back Better plan has a price tag of $3.5 trillion, but it's going nowhere. Senate Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema won't vote for it. The problem is the left-wing Democrats in the House won't support the smaller $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill already passed by the Senate unless the Senate passes the bigger bill as well. So in other words, nothing's getting done. This has the Biden team scrambling, and now they are trying to trim the big bill down to a size that can get passed. And here's the story. Scaling down his Build Back Better plans, President Joe Biden described a more limited vision to Democrats on Tuesday of a $2 trillion government overhaul package with at least $500 billion to tackle climate change and money for middle-class priorities, child tax credits, paid family leave, health care, and free pre-kindergarten. Likely to be eliminated or seriously shaved back, plans for tuition-free community colleges, a path to legal status for immigrants who are in the U.S. without documentation, and a specific clean energy plan that was the centerpiece of Biden's strategy for fighting climate change. The last thing America needs is taxpayer funds going to indoctrinate children even earlier. So-called free pre-K means the government calls the shots on what these children are learning. No thanks. Here's more. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat of California, progressive caucus member, said Biden urged lawmakers to get something done now to show U.S. leadership on climate change on the global stage. He really believes American leadership, American prestige is on the line, Khanna said. A key holdout on Biden's proposals, moderate Senator Joe Manchin from Coal State, West Virginia, has made it clear he opposes the president's initial Clean Energy Performance Plan, which would have the government impose penalties on electric utilities that fail to meet clean energy benchmarks. What we really need to keep in mind through all of this mess is that even though the Democrats are in disarray, even though they can't govern or lead, even though they are failing on the border, on the economy, jobs, COVID, Afghanistan, you name it, they will still end up passing a massive bill that takes freedom away from you and gives it to the government. Many may actually get voted out in 2022, and that's a good thing, but there is no doubt they will do considerable damage in the meantime. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next show is going to be Friday evening at the usual time, 6:30 p.m. Central. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends. Share it. Spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.